Hi, my name is Mike, and I've been using helmet cameras, LED, and HID lights for 7-8 years now. This is the rig I used to shoot some caving footage just recently. It incorporates a GoPro Hero3 Black and a 2700X LED headlamp that is sold by OpenLightSystems. Now, both of these products are kind of new to me, so I was anxious to try them out together. As you can tell, both are mounted on the front of the helmet, which kind of makes it a little front heavy, and it looks kind of clunky. But overall, the combination worked out pretty well. The 2700X uses 3 Cree LEDs that puts out a measured 1800 lumens, which is really an incredible amount of light. Now, this light is typically used by trail bikers or road bikers, but I was interested in trying it in a caving application. There's a website called MTBR which gave this light some good reviews and is one reason why I picked it up. The color output of the light is around 5,000 degrees Kelvin, which is typical for most LED lights and is considered white. It has a little bit of a spotlight for throw, but it also has some good spill. Now, I was a little concerned that the spotlight might overexpose some of the footage, but overall it turned out pretty well. The following video I shot was in a Kentucky cave around the Mount Vernon area and was my testing ground for these two products. We had a nice small group of 7 folks, a mix of teens and seasoned cavers, and as you will see, I took some good video and some bad video just to give you an idea of what works and what doesn't work when you're shooting footage in a cave. So, let's take a look at some footage. There were actually 2 groups visiting the cave, but we were taking different routes. This cave has around 11 miles of surveyed passages and is one of the longest caves I've been in. We were underground for about 4.5 hours and only saw a small section of cave. Now, this crawl is pretty muddy, but at least you didn't have to do the belly crawl thing through it. The mud had a tendency to try to suck off my knee pads. As you can see in this clip and the others to follow, there were places in the cave where there was a lot of moisture in the air. If your light source is next to the camera lens under these conditions, the picture can look kind of foggy. The light illuminates the water particles in the air, which kind of makes your video look not so good. To improve your shot under these conditions, you should not use your helmet light, but rather a handheld light source that is farther away from the camera lens. It'll work out much better. As you may have noticed, at the beginning of each segment, I am noting which light source I am using. I brought 2 lights with me on this trip. One is the 2700X LED headlamp, and the other is a 35-watt HID handheld flashlight with a diffuser. As you watch the video, the LED light gives off more of a white tint, whereas the HID flashlight has a warmer tint, which I like better for video. The HID flashlight has a diffuser on the front of it, which smooths out the light and eliminates the hot spot. Now, there is a trade-off when using a diffuser though. You give up some lumens. But I think this is a reasonable trade-off if you're shooting video. Here we are going down a hole that leads to the river passage. It wasn't too difficult and everybody made it down okay. We had a variety of age groups on this trip, from seasoned cavers to youngins in their teens. The seasoned cavers led the trip and were introducing some of the younger folk to the caving experience. This is the river passage that goes on for quite a distance. We ran into the other caving group in this section, which was kind of cool. I was told that the river passage can flood all the way up to the ceiling, which is kind of scary though when you think about it. A good safety point to remember is always check the weather before you go into a cave. You don't want to be in a cave that could flood and put you and your group at risk. As we're walking through this part, you can tell there is a lot of moisture in the air. If you wanted to make the video a little bit better, I would have turned off my headlamp and just used the HID flashlight. You can also see off and on how the spotlight on my helmet will occasionally overexpose the backs of my fellow cavers. Overall though, it wasn't that big a deal. This is my heir to the throne being a little silly on camera. Sean obviously gets this trait from his mother, since I am obviously a more reserved and serious fellow. Can you tell what's wrong with this picture? Well, the problem is that I walked through a very misty part of the cave and did not bother to wipe off the lens before shooting, which obviously is resulting in a blurred image. So, if you are in a cave that has a lot of moisture or mist, you should always make sure that your lens is clear before you start recording. Overall, I was pretty happy with the GoPro Hero 3 performance. If you're using a helmet camera to shoot footage underground, you definitely need to bring along a good light source, something that puts out at least 500 to 800 lumens, and it should also be diffused. Now, most helmet cameras, whether it's GoPro, Contour, Oregon Scientific, they're designed to be used outdoors and all really struggle in low light. So, it's my opinion that, if you're using a helmet camera underground, they work good for smaller passages, but Once you get into larger passages or rooms, the darkness just really sucks out the light and your video will look pixelated. The 2700X, I think, also did a very good job. It's really killer bright, and even though the spotlight created some overexposures, it really wasn't that bad. If that's a concern, you can create a diffuser for it, or sometimes what I've done is purchased a spare lens, and then I'll take an etching compound and I will frost the lens, and that will completely get rid of the hot spot. It does a great job. Now, as I mentioned before, this light puts out around 5,000 degrees Kelvin, and if you're interested in a warmer light, you can buy some Roscoe filter material from the B&H Photo website, and you can cut a piece out to fit over the glass lens, and works like a champ. I've used it in the past, and it does a nice job. So overall, I was really happy with both products, and I think they're winners in my book. For more information on the helmet camera, you can obviously visit GoPro, and for more information on this light, you can visit OpenLightSystems. Thanks for watching.